Hello and welcome to Speedtalks, the podcast about everything tech in the financial industry. The main theme of today's episode is about buy now, pay later. BNPL is a short-term financing service that allows consumers to pay for online purchases for goods and services at a later date. So the plan for today is that I will start with a brief overview of the product and the concept. I will share some examples of the most popular solutions out there. I will explain how buy now, pay later influences customer behavior and discuss implications for banks and financial institutions. BNPL boomed during the good economy and during the pandemic times, with low or zero interest rates fueling its growth. And I'm just keen on understanding how is it doing now when the money is not cheap anymore. So whether you are a fintech, a bank, a retailer operating in that space, or just curious about the latest financial trends, this episode is packed with valuable information that you definitely don't want to miss. So tune in now. Okay, so let's start with a brief overview of the growing popularity of buy now, pay later solutions. Because deferred payments are, in practice, let's say, unsecured consumer credit and are for sure an increasingly popular option to pay for products and services and are often operated by fintechs. So that's the concept. The loan is initiated directly at the point of sale during the purchase. And at its core, BNPL is, as a deferred payment scheme, it's not revolutionary. It's a model similar to that point of sale financing provided by traditional lenders. Nonetheless, the popularity of that concept is growing. The market size of, let's say, the total market global size of BNPL services in 2023 was more than $300 billion and is expected to grow at a compound annual growth rate of over 25% until 2026. Geographically, it's the Northern America that is projected to account for over 40% of that transaction global value in buy now, pay later services in total, and is growing at a significant rate and is predicted to continue that growth path. Whereas the European buy now, pay later transaction value is capturing around 30% of the overall market size last year. So again, at its core, it's not revolutionary. It's a concept similar to other financing solutions. But definitely this particular product has enjoyed significantly accelerated growth due to COVID pandemic and the increased, let's say, popularity of online purchases in the first place. But we will dig a little bit deeper to that in a second. So if you look at the market of buy now, pay later providers, you can more or less split them into three categories. The, let's say, first monoline BNPL providers, and I think Klarna, the unicorn, is one of the most popular examples here. Then the traditional lenders / incumbent banks, and you can name any bank here or a MasterCard kind of player here. And then big tech like Apple, they also have their own buy now, pay later schemes. And if you got more examples, there's firms like Affirm, Afterpay, Amazon Payments, PayPal, Pay Later, fintechs like Payka in Poland, or now Bleak buy now, pay later. The instant payment scheme also introduces deferred payment systems, and the list goes on and on. If you look at who is using buy now, pay later services, the customer geographics are pretty interesting here because it turns out that it's the millennials and the Gen Z consumers that are the primary adopters of buy now, pay later. Turns out that majority of the users are under 40 years old. And well, it's fair to say that it is an appealing concept to consumers with mostly irregular income streams or unpredictable expenses, such as freelancers, gig workers, or students here. So the product itself, it definitely has a huge influence on the customer's purchasing behavior. If you look at the data, it turns out that 9 in 10 people suggested that their shopping habits had changed since they started using buy now, pay later schemes. And there's few, let's say, points to discuss here. The first aspect is related to instant gratification, yet deferred payment for that gratification. So I would say it even plays with your emotion to the extent where you are more inclined to make the purchase immediately, even for higher value items, because BNPL allows you to defer that payment for later, where you don't think about it, while enjoying the product immediately right here, right now. So as a result, this brings us to an overall increase in spending as customers feel empowered to buy more because they can spread the payments over time and in installments. And the ability to pay in installments may also encourage customers to add more items to the basket, apparently, leading to larger average transaction sizes. Because customers may explore a wider range of products or maybe a wider range of merchants, knowing that they have the option to pay later and in installments, which leads to increased digital spending habits at the end of the day. Because a typical user of a buy now, pay later scheme feels more comfortable making larger purchases more frequently than they would if required to pay upfront. That's for sure. So it does change the customer behavior, leading to higher volume of transactions for merchants who are one of the biggest beneficiaries here, beneficiaries here, and increased consumer spending overall. Buy now, pay later does alter customers' perception of affordability, with some feeling more comfortable making purchases that they might otherwise consider too expensive upfront. And the seamless integration of BNPL into e-commerce platforms that are super popular at the moment just encourages customers to engage more frequently with online shopping. And if you look at what was the fuel for that growth and popularity, it was definitely the pandemics. That was the time when, firstly, everyone started to buy online, and it sort of stayed with us. Everyone is buying online to date, even though we are no longer in a lockdown. It's just convenient and easy, more fun, and as well more affordable, as you can see. So the overall growth and increase of online retail services translated into creating that space for buy now, pay later deferred payment scheme. On top of that, we, up to quite recently, were living in an economy where money or credit was super cheap. You had super low interest rates or even 0% interest rates. So the whole concept of financing this deferred payment was not that costly in the first place. If you look at the situation in the economy now, when the money is now no longer cheap, it's expensive, the interest rates are higher, the inflation rate is higher, etc., the buy now, pay later scheme is still popular. It has impacted the consumer behavior to the extent that we are not making purchasing decisions as we were before, or in the same, let's say, the habits changed. We're not making the same decisions anymore or doing the same things as we did before. And that also has certain implications for banks and financial institutions, because it both presents opportunities and challenges. On the one hand, BNPL offers banks a new avenue for customer acquisition and revenue generation, particularly among these younger demographics, younger users who may be less inclined to use traditional banking products in the first place, yet can be open to using that particular product for, let's say, facilitation of their purchasing situation. And by partnering with BNPL providers or developing their own BNPL offerings, banks, specifically more traditional banks, can attract new customers, new demographics, and drive engagement through personalized payment solutions tailored to individual needs of their target market or new target markets. And according to a study by Payments, 70% of current BNPL users, they indicated that interest in making use of their own bank's BNPL services should they be made available, which is a huge potential. It tells you as a bank that your customers would use you as a BNPL provider instead of any other fintech provider out there, just because it's easier. It's just a huge opportunity to tap into. So banks can benefit also from a well-established image developed over decades, comparing to, for example, young fintechs who are not, let's say, enjoying that level of, I don't know how to put it, respect or brand image. On the other hand, though, BNPL introduces complexities in risk management and regulatory compliance. There are questions raised about, can people pay off their credits later on? There's huge competition, specifically from big fintech companies who can be more flexible, can be acting quicker. The market is already quite saturated. It's early 2024. And my personal feeling is that BNPL space is is quite saturated. Naturally, you have companies specializing in B2C, BNPL, retail BNPL, B2B or SME BNPL. But at the end of the day, it's the same concept, just different hats. And as such, in this situation, in this context, banks must strike a balance between innovation and risk mitigation. Perhaps by partnering with fintechs with ready-made products that target their niche. I don't know, that is usually the way to go. So, were I to wrap BNPL up, I would say that it boomed during the good economy, but it seems to be immune even in the bad economy. Looks like there's a product market fit, a very good product market fit for BNPL services and products, specifically among younger generations who are digital first, are, e-commerce natives. And as long as relevant technology can be leveraged to deliver that experience to both customers and fintechs/banks, my prediction is that BNPL is definitely here to stay. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have an experience of using BNPL services. I personally can say and can share that wherever I see that I can pay in 10 installments and there's 0% interest rate on deferring that payment into installments, I tend to use that service. I'm not potentially deferring that payment in time, but I am splitting that into 10 parts. I'm not paying anything extra for that service, which just, for me personally, allows me to maybe decrease the impact of that particular purchasing decision on my, let's say, family budget. Let me know what you think. If you would like to have another topic covered in one of the future episodes, do let me know. That was Speed Talks by SpeedNet. Thank you, and until next time.